Right, so hello everyone at Elm Series Season 21. We have got Japan, which will be around the Suzuka circuit tonight, and United States Grand Prix, which will be around the circuit of the Americas. We're going to be in for a 13 lap encounter first around the Suzuka circuit. Last season's winner was Aiden, who's now in TGP1, and there's 3 drivers who, in the current field, that have picked up 2 victories here at the Suzuka Grand Prix, the Japanese Grand Prix. That is Joe, Dom and Chris Johnson, and apparently we missed it just before we went on air, but Chris Johnson, Dom and Bazza had an incident in qualifying. Chris Johnson was wiped out the session and Dom and Bazza recovered back to the pit lane. Going to quickly run through the championship standings. So CJ is currently leading the championship. He is currently on 221 points even, followed by Luca in second on 188. Erland is third on 165, the Force India driver. Then we have fourth Barry in the Mercedes on 155, Dom fifth on 150, and then Joe sixth on 143. We've got a two-way battle, looks like, in the Constructors, as we see one of the Force Indias go off on screen. But we've got a two-way battle in the Constructors between Renault and Sauber. 364 points for Renault, who are leading ahead of Sauber on 338. So, a quick fact about this season so far. 8 different winners as there has been so far this season, and it's been the most in the last 5 seasons of TGP2. So what do you think is going to happen tonight? My co-commentator, Sean-Luke Taylor.
Good evening everyone. I think it's going to be an interesting night. As we can see already in qualifying, we've had quite a few guys drop out in the session. Mr. Chiapelli being the main victim, as it were, as he lost it on the exit spoon during the quali run and crashed out. He's going to be 9th position at best, and that could sink lower as Bads is just going onto track now, having only done a run so far with soft tyres. It's a good opportunity for CJ Beach in P5 to extend that championship lead. He's built up a bit of a healthy lead over the last couple of weeks, and this is a great chance for him to really seize the initiative and maybe seal a TGP2 title.
Yes, it definitely is indeed. We've got 2 minutes 30 roughly to go in the session. We currently have Bossman Short, who's just winding up to start flying lap, currently sitting on pole with a 28.5. Then we have in second Dansko, who's flying on a lap in his Mercedes on a 29 dead. Comreese is third on a 29 dead as well. Erland is fourth, who's just leaving the pit lane. CJ is currently sitting fifth, and everyone is out on Super Soft, who's doing a lap, except from Bazza, actually. So what do you make of Bazza's strategy?
It's an interesting one, it has to be said. I think he's actually coming to the pit lane now. That's going to be the end of his session. It's not going to get back out in time with 2 minutes to go. It's an interesting strategy. I think he might have been gambling and trying to get knocked out the top 10, and it's just not quite happened because the super soft tyres do tend to wear out quite quickly here, but it's normally manageable on a one-stopper, so he's probably trying to get the soft tyres to last a bit longer, get him a bit of road at the front, get him through to the front, but it's not really worked out as he probably would have hoped, as his tyres are quite worn as well. They've done an extra lap compared to most of the other runners in the field, so it's not quite gone to plan, it has to be said.
Yeah, definitely hasn't. Well, meanwhile, while you were chatting about that, Danskar popped up into second, improved his time. He was second before, but he's now just gone behind Bossman Sean, who's currently on a flyer, heading around 130i into the Casio triangle now, breaking down the gears, down to third, but he went up to a 28.5, and he's got a bit tank slappery on the entry. Just about going to go. No, he's going to pull into the pits. Anyone else on the lap? We've got Comreese on the lap. 29 dead at the moment. He's got a Williams sitting right on the racing line there. What was Breezer doing? New guy to the lead, sitting right on the racing line, coming through 130 hours. Comreese is going to finish the lap. What is he going to do to finish off this run? It is going to be a 28.6, so he does improve. But what do you make of that, Sean?
That was very hairy, it has to be said. It's Comreese doing a brilliant job to avoid an absolute catastrophe at 130R, where the Williams just did not. He obviously didn't see the car. He was in the middle of the track as well, which is very dangerous. And at a corner like that, where you're going in blind pretty much, flat out, you don't want to have a car dawdling right in front of you. That was very nearly. Well, I didn't want to think about the consequences personally. That would have been a very bad one.
Yeah, definitely would have been a bad one indeed. Yeah, it would have been a bad one indeed. Elite Shots there has just gone off. You might have seen on screen. He's ruined his final run, so it's now really between Dom Smith and CJ for who can challenge Bossman Sean. I think Erland might be able to do something about it as well. As we follow Dom, he's coming around Spoon Corner, heading down the back straight, along towards the Casio Triangle. Got 130R the next corner for him, and then it's the Casio Triangle. Just a little bit of traffic in front, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. 32.8 middle sector there for Dom as he heads towards the Casio Triangle. So breaking down the gears, down to third gear, through the Casio Triangle, flicks it in one way, flicks it in the other. Now we've got to be very careful. There's a bump on the traction zone coming out of this corner. It sweeps round to the right, and where does he go? He improves to a 29 dead, goes up to P4 ahead of Erland. Bit of a slide there for CJ as he comes to cross the line. What's he going to do? He's going to pop up to P5 with a 29.1, and that is it for this session. So Bossman Sean is going to take pole position with a 28.5 ahead of Danskar. Con Reese in third, Dom Smith fourth, and CJ rounding out top five. So CJ title leader starting all the way down in P5 for this race, John.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting session there. A very solid lap early on by Bossman Sean to be at the top of the timetables, and even though Danskar got very close, it wasn't quite enough to dethrone him from pole position. But the run down to turn one has seen some major incidents in the past, famous incidents in Formula One. So there's always something that will happen, and it will be interesting to see as they go through there at the beginning of the race.
So yeah, here is the rundown of the qualifying order. So we have Bossman Sean on pole in Toro Rosso with a 28.5. Then we have also on a 28.5, 18,000 separating them is the Mercedes of Danskar. Third is Connor in the Force India. Then we have Dom in fourth, CJ fifth, Erland sixth, Elite Shots in seventh, Red Bull Kim, decent qualifying for him up in P8. Then we've got Mr. Chiapelli in ninth, Bazza in 10th, Breezer 11th, Mr. John 12th, and Joe Sayer rounding out the people who've done times in this session. And there's three guys at the back, James, Michael Kenny and Chris Johnson, did not set a lap time in that session. So now we're rating to go here for the Japanese Grand Prix on the 3.6 mile circuit, loved by some drivers. It's a very fast flowing circuit, more traditional, not that much runoff here compared to most of the modern circuits. Who do you think is going to thrive in these difficult circuits, shall we say?
I feel tempted to say Danskar's got this one. Bossman Sean is very prone to having a silly incident in a race, and it would not surprise me if it befalls him again. Just always something seems to happen with him that stops him from finishing the race. So it'd be interesting to see what happens at the start if he could get off the line quickly. But I think Danskar, if he's just close enough and keeps the pressure on, Bossman Sean will crack, and that will give the race to Danskar.
So pretty much ready to go here for the Japanese Grand Prix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights are on, waiting for them to go out, dropping the clutches, and they're away at Suzuka. And it looks like a decent start for the front guys. CJ's already up to fourth, getting a very good start actually. Hassan and Harry in the back of Conreys. But suddenly Conreys is looking down the inside of the Mercedes. Dom's gone straight back up the inside of Dom. Bossman Sean comes out the first corner in the lead though, heading into the S's now. And it looks like it's probably going to stay this way. Dan all over the back of him through the S's. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. I'm not sure what happened down the back of the field. Do you know, Sean?
Yeah, there was incident at turn one. It's the two McLarens that are going.
Oh, sorry, interrupted you. Sean spun it on the exit of the SEs, and Conreys is now into the lead because Dan went straight into the back of him, spun him round. They've both got Bossman Sean's facing backwards. I think he hasn't got that much damage, but Danskar's definitely got front wing damage, I feel, after just ploughing into the back of him. Absolute disaster there.
Definitely noticeable on the front wing. That's major damage to the left-hand side, and that is going to have to be a pit stop for him, which is a disastrous end to the race. What it was Red Bull Kim looked like he got turned round into turn one and was facing the wrong way at the exit of turn one. And then the two McLarens were side by side in the S's and managed to tangle into each other and held each other up, as Chiapelli has made good ground in the early laps, already up to fourth.
Yeah, decent start from Chiapelli
in ninth position.
Yeah, decent start from Chiapelli, just passing Elite Shots as he caught on camera. But the end of lap one is going to be Conreys in the Force India leading. Dom Smith in second, CJ in third. There's a little bit of a gap back to Mr. Chiapelli though, but he started down in P9 and he's already up to P4 in this race, and he's on the different tyre to the rest of the top five. So this could play into his favour. Is Elite Shots going to have a go at him round the outside into the first corner? No, he isn't. He's going to back out of the move. Another yellow flag down the field as cars stream into the pit lane. Definitely a bit of a chaotic start in this one, John.
Yeah, Erlan has gone into the wall, the outside of the last corner, very reminiscent of Montoya in 2005. He's out of the race. AFCB James is also out as well. It looks like that's happened just on pit exit, I believe. I'll just keep an eye on it. Dan's car has come in as well as Breezer. They've both already pitted, and I can tell you, James is off the outside of turn 1.
Sorry to interrupt you. Dom made a mistake at the exit of the Degners, and CJ's going to have him pass before he even gets to the hairpin. So that's going to be CJ up into P2, Dom Smith down to P3. Got the exit wrong at the Degner. Quite easy to do, isn't it, John?
Yeah, very easy to get it wrong in the Degner corners. If you take too much curb on the exit of Degner 1, it sends you wide into Degner 2, and even without doing that, Degner 2, very tricky. Very easy to run wide on the exit as well and pick up a bit of dirt and then just be slow up to the hairpin. And that's what's happened to Dom, as now he is having a look up to the back of CJ going through 130R. He's closing quite quickly, running a little wide on the exit, but he's going to look to go to the outside here into the last chicane. CJ holds firm, a little bit of contact. Dom at the inside though makes the move stick. It looks like he's run very wide now on the exit, and in fact he's completely onto the grass. That's cost him. That's going to cost him third as well, as Chiapelli's now straight through on the main straight.
Yeah, so on to lap number 3 now. We've got all changed once again. Chiapelli on the soft tyres, not the super softs like the rest of the top 5, is thriving in this race. He's up to P3 already. There is expected to be rain towards the end of this race thanks to the Sauber weather system. Thank you for the guys at Sauber providing us with the weather for this race, as we have Elite Shots just lurking in the background of the two Saubers at the moment. Bossman Sean's recovering nicely. He's back up to P7 after an awful, I'm not even sure what happened. I think he just ran wide on the exit of the Essies, and Dansgaard just had nowhere to go but into the back of him. So very unfortunate situation for Dansgaard. Not really a lot he could have done, and he's paid the biggest penalty out of the two drivers for that incident.
Yeah, it always seems to be the way, isn't it, when a car goes off in front, that you're the unfortunate victim. Bossman Sean is still in 7th, 9 seconds off, but Dan's car having pitted is over half a minute down in 10th. And admittedly, he could come back into this race. He would have lost a bit of time due to the pit stop and the front wing change, but he is in clear air. He is very, very capable of being near the front in a normal race. So expect a few quick laps coming in from him to try and reduce that deficit. He's got about 4 seconds to Red Bull pin in front, so he's got a little bit of clear air which will help him. And we'll be interested to see where he reappears when everyone else makes their stop. Meanwhile, though, the two Saubers close together, and the
well, Dom's just made another mistake, ran wide, and now he's in it. Yeah, Dom's into the pit lane now. He's going to drop down the field, but what's he going to do? Bazza also doing a very good job on the soft tyres, actually in 5th, but he's got Bossman Shaw all over the back of him. Bossman Shaw going to take the inside line into turn 1, and that's an easy move, actually. So Bossman Sean back up into P5, Bazza down to P6, but how's Dom going to do? He's just left the pit box, I believe, so he's going to come out behind. Where's he going to come out? He's coming out in about P9, whereas Dansgaard is just coming down the main straight. So yeah, P9 for Dom Smith. He needed, I think his tyres were just gone, to be honest. He had no real option but to pit early doors.
Yes, indeed, that did seem to be the case. It looked like the tyres were definitely worn out. A few mistakes in the previous couple of laps as well wouldn't have helped him. So just to see how he's come out in comparison to Dan's car. If I look at the timings, really, I think if Bossman Sean were to pit this lap, he'd come out right in front or right behind Dan's car, and that would be very interesting between those two after the first lap.
Yeah, so have a quick rundown since it was requested in the comments by Daniel Fawcett. So we're going to have a look at what tyres everyone's on. So Conrees is the race leader. He's currently on Super Softs. Then we have CJ in 2nd on Super Softs. Chiapelli 3rd on the softs. Elite Shots Super Softs. Bossman Sean in 5th on Super Softs. Then Baz is the next runner on softs. Then we have Michael Kenny on Super Softs. And then Dom, who's made his pit stop already. So he's the lead of the cars that have done his pit stop. He's on fresh, soft tyres. So there is your tyre update. Also going to have a quick look at the position changes so far in this race. And the biggest mover is Michael Kenny at the moment, coming from 15th on the grid. He's already up to P8 in this race. As Dom Smith's going to have a look round the outside into the Casio triangle. Is he going to make it stick? No, not quite. But he's going to have him on the exit. He's going to try and get him. DRS is going to be open as they head towards the DRS line. There it is. Michael Kenny's going to be a sitting duck. He's got older rubber, and Dom Smith isn't on the grippier tyre, but it's definitely going to produce more grip at this current time, and he is a quicker driver, unfortunately, to say for Michael Kenny's sake, as he goes up the inside into the first corner, and he's up into P7 in this race.
Yeah, just meanwhile, while that battle was happening, Elite Shots has gone off the track and ended up in the gravel trap in the S's. He's lost about 9 seconds. It's dropped into 6th. Meanwhile, we've just lost Colin Reese from the race, you know. He's actually just disconnected from 2nd position. So that's going to push Chiapelli up.
Yeah, race leader out of this race. Yeah,
that's a huge shame for him.
Yeah, definitely a big problem for the race leader there. So he's running around. He still could. It depends how quick he can get back into the session. Luckily, with F1 games, you can get back into the session with a disconnection. So Chiapelli, though, is closing in on the back of CJ now. CJ is probably going to be coming into the pit lane this time, most likely. We'll see if he does or not. So Chiapelli coming through the Casio triangle. So does CJ. CJ is peeled into the pit lane. So Chiapelli now takes the lead of the race. But it'll be interesting to see where CJ pulls out in comparison to Dom Smith. Dom Smith going to be a couple of laps older on the tyres though, but he's going to have couple of laps of extra fresh rubber. There's a lot of cars coming. Bossman Sean's in. Conreese, who I don't think's come back into the session yet, he's back in the race. Bazza on the softs is still going. So where is Dom Smith? Dom Smith is just coming out of the Casio triangle. Where's CJ? CJ's just pulling out the pit lane. It's going to be quite tight between Dom and... Well, actually, no, it wasn't as tight as I thought it was going to be. CJ's already into turn 1 just as Dom is entering, and that is a really nice camera shot there. Thank you to the camera crew for this race. See a couple of other movers and shakers. Bossman Sean's in 6th. Dan Scar's recovering nicely, actually, at the moment, into P7, but he's got to make those tyres last from lap 1 till the end. But there is the potential of rain in this race, so that could spice things up and work in his favour slightly, couldn't it, John?
Yes, indeed, and it's probably something he's going to need, because I don't think the tyres are going to last for 12 laps. We can tell you Colin Reese has returned to the session. He's back on track in 8th position. He was indeed in the lead, like you said, when he disconnected. I mistakenly thought he was P2, so I do apologise for that. But meanwhile, Chiapelli's still going around in the lead, 10 seconds clear of Bazza. It's interesting to keep the gap between Chiapelli and CJ Beach. It's currently 20.6 seconds, but it is slowly coming down. So Chiapelli needs to either make these tyres last or cut his losses, quickly go onto the super softs and try and get those to last while using the pace advantage early on to get past CJ and fight for the lead, which is crucial for his championship hopes, really, because CJ has quite the lead as we continue on with
Elite
the race
Shots
now
into the
7.
pit lane. So he's I think he's the last guy who was running on super softs to pit. So he's going to drop down the field now. I reckon he'll probably come out about P9, P10 in this race, around that sort of area in the field. Bossman Sean has been closing in on Dom Smith though, so he's trying to make a recovery after that he just made a mistake on the exit of the S's and just ruined his own race as well as Dan Scar's in the process, didn't he, John?
Yeah, definitely, and I was thinking it was going to be a little bit closer than it was after the pit stops between Bossman Sean and Danskar. There was about a 3-second gap between Dom and Danskar when Dom came out the pits, but by the time Bossman Sean actually pitted, the gap was up to 5 seconds. I can tell you now, Bossman Sean very quick closing in on Dom for what is currently 4th position, but it's basically a net 3rd, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. Bossman Sean with the fresher tyres by 2 laps. Danskar a few seconds back. He won't be really close enough to do anything, but this is the main fight on track at the moment that we will need to keep an eye on as they come towards the swing corner now. Dom covering the inside a little bit, but takes his line. Bossman Sean a little wide on the entry as well, but this is going to be interesting on the run down to 130R.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting on the run down at 130R. Mr. Chiapelli has pulled into the pit lane and he's got a 5-second stop-go penalty. So that's a disaster for him. He's going to be fighting for the podium. And now he might end up off the podium because of that penalty. But we've got Bossman Sean looking to make a move into the Casio triangle. No, he isn't quite there yet, but surely on DRS into turn 1 he's going to have him. Maybe even on traction, actually. Around the outside he goes. He's got the DRS wide open, heading down towards the first corner here at Suzuka. But Dom's just about hanging on the inside. It's going to be touch and go, but he sweeps around the outside and gets the move done. Bossman Sean up into P3, Dom Smith down to P4, and Mr. Chiapelli has rejoined the race right behind CJ, actually, 4 tenths behind, and he's going to have the fresh rubber, so this could get very excited. Heading round the S's they go, towards the Deckners now. Is he going to make a move into Degders? Surely not. That's going to be a bit risky, isn't it, Chiapelli? I think his best option, maybe you have a dive in the hairpin if he's close enough, but he's not going to be close enough this time as they head towards the hairpin. Is he going to have a dive? No, a little lock up from CJ though. He needs a good exit, Chiapelli, and he does get a good exit. So round this curve straight, heading towards Spoon Corner now. Up the gears they go. CJ's weaving, trying to keep hold of his position. Surely he knows that Chiapelli's going to be on the softer rubber, so it won't be too long before he gets past. But Chiapelli needs to make himself a 5-second gap. They come out of Spoon now, heading towards 130R. He's going to be in the slipstream. Up the gears they go. Sauber driver's getting closer and closer. He's going to make a move into the inside of 130R. Yes, he is. Down the inside of 130R. What a move from Mr. Chiapelli. He's going to be in front into the Casio triangle. Move done. Chiapelli into the lead of this race. But now he's got to try and make 5 seconds up to negate that penalty loss, hasn't he, Sean?
Yes, indeed. It was a very, very good move by Chiapelli. It took a few corners of planning, positioning, getting it lined up, and then with the ERS advantage, it seemed like down the straight, he managed to make his move to 130R. A great move down the inside. CJ having to be forced to yield, and now Chiapelli needs to make that 5-second gap while also making his tyres last. Meanwhile, the fight for the podium is still ongoing. Bossman Sean not really pulling away from Dom. Danscar slowly closing in. Meanwhile, Connery's back of the race up to 6th place, having dropped down to about 8th or 9th after his disconnection. He's set the fastest lap of the race as well, so there was some genuine pace in his car today, which is a huge shame that he disconnected when he did. Meanwhile, though, Chiapelli's already over a second clear, having passed at the end of the previous lap, so he's really going for it. Hopefully he can keep the tyres lasting, but it's going to leave a very, very interesting scrap to see if he can make that 5 seconds up and win this Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely going to be very interesting. Just been following Dom for a couple of corners there as he heads onto the back straight. He's starting to drop back actually from Bossman Sean now. So there's not really any major battles going on at the moment. We've got Bazo, who has made his stop, probably the next closest to having a battle, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Not really sure what for. Can you find out what that is for?
Looks like Breezy came into the pit lane. I think he's had a moment on the way in.
Okay.
He is in now. He's lost a lot of time, so I believe that was your cause for the yellow flag.
Okay, that's the cause for the yellow flag. It'd be interesting to keep an eye on Bazza. Starting to close in on the back of Conrees. Conrees is starting to close in on the back of Dan. And Dan's closing in on the back of Dom. So this could be a potential... Well, Danscar's made another stop actually, so that's ruined that strategy for me. As Dan's into the pits for a second stop. I think his tyres have fallen off completely now. So there he is. There's Breezer just pulling out the pit lane as we're on board with Bazza. But yeah, Danscar's tyres I think are just completely gone now. He was on from lap 1 thanks to that error from Bossman Sean. Bossman Sean looks like he's recovered to a 3rd place though, which is a very strong recovery from what happened at the start, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. Now he's starting to pull away from Dom. I think Dom is having the same issue as Dan's car. The tyres are just starting to drop away. He was about a second down the previous lap. He's already built up to 3.5. And Conree's catching very quickly to the back of Sauber for 4th. It's looking like the tyres will only last about 6 or 7 laps here before they start to drop off on the harder compound. So that's also going to make it interesting on the last couple laps, because Chiapelli is absolutely flying. He's almost got that 5-second deficit covered, but will the tyres last? It looks like, going by the soft tyres, it might not, which could potentially push it back towards CJ at the end of the race. So this is going to be a fascinating development as we approach the final 3 laps now. Yeah, approaching the final 3 laps, up to 4.6 seconds. There's a bit of rubber come flying off my screen. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. Not really sure who it's for. It's for Mr. Jean. So he's made a mistake somewhere on his medium tyres. So a bit of a mistake somewhere. He's got part of his front wing missing. So that's not the best idea for him. Meanwhile, Conrees is probably the closest to having a battle soon, as he's catching up to the back of Dom Smith. It's down to 1.4 seconds. Chiapelli has now got that 5-second gap covered. It's now up to 5.3 seconds, isn't it? So that's going to be very good for him. He's probably going to win this Grand Prix, even with his penalty. We'll see, because the clouds are starting to come in very quickly. I don't think it's going to be in time for the rain, the rumoured rain, to actually make an effect. Meanwhile, I was going to tell you, I think there was contact between Mr. John and Dan's car at the hairpin. I don't know if he just got tapped into a little spin or if he spun on his own, but that was the reason for the yellow flags. Now Mr. John has called it a day from what was 9th position. He's now going to be parked in the garage, and that's the end of his race. That's going to push Breezer up into 11th and Chris Johnson to 12th. Obviously, the Australia point system will mean everyone finishing will now score points. But meanwhile, Chiapelli just still pushing away, getting that lead built up. It's 6 seconds now. And you know what? Bossman Sean is closing in quickly in CJ for second. And that might be the fight to watch in the last couple of laps.
Wow.
Meanwhile, though, Con Rees now on the back of Dom.
Yeah, Con Rees all over the back of Dom. Got a couple of lap fresher tyres than Dom. So he's going to make a move down the inside into 130R. He's going to make it stick. Is he going to do what Chiapelli done? Yes, he is. He's got the move done down the inside of 130R. So Con Rees back up to 4th. Dom Smith down to 5th position. And we've completely negated it this race. But Joe Sayer isn't actually in this race, which is bad news for him because he is one of the title contenders in this championship. But probably not after tonight, the way it's going.
Yeah, it seemed he disconnected right at the end of qualifying. He tried to get back in just before the race, but unfortunately for him, it was just a little bit too late, and therefore he could not take part in the race. It also doesn't help Renault in their Quest of the Constructors as well, which with only one car scoring compared to Sauber's 2, that would allow them to close up a bit, as Dan's car sets the fastest lap of the race now.
Yeah, Dan's car setting the fastest lap of the race. It would be 35 points for Sauber compared to 18 for Renault. That would probably still mean Renault would be leading the championship, but not by a lot. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Have a quick look to see what it is for. It's for Elite Shots. I've just seen the gravel on his tyres. So he's made a mistake in the SE somewhere. And he's running on his own, so he's not really lost a lot of time and not really gained a lot of time. Someone's made a mistake in Sector 2 though. Not really sure who it is. Might be one of the lap down guys.
Yeah, it was Breezer just moving out of the way of Elite Shots. It was the second time this race Elite Shots has gone off in the S's as well, so it's been proved a challenge for him today, but he's still up there in 7th, doing a respectable job. A little way off the car in front now, but he's got a bit of work to do to hold off Dan's car, who's rapidly approaching now, so he might have a little fight in his hand to keep that 7th position.
Speaking of rapidly approaching, speaking of rapidly approaching, Sean is getting very close to the back of CJ. Getting down to it, he's under a second now, so he's got the DRS. His DRS is wide open on his Toro Rosso. Is he going to be able to catch CJ before the end of the race? That's the only DRS zone on this circuit, and he's run wide coming out of the first corner into the SEs. So this, unless he can get close enough into the hairpin, I would say this is pretty much CJ's to lose now, this second position. Meanwhile, we follow Mr. Chiapelli coming round through Degner for the final time in this race.
Yeah, I just got on board with Bossman Sean just before the start of the final lap. It looked like he got sideways coming into the last corner. The little bump on the inside obviously can catch you out, as he's got deep into Degner 2 on the exit there as well, which hasn't helped him. You could see his push, and he was flying through Degner 1, closed right up to CJ, and then just made that little mistake. You see the tyres giving up a little bit, the rear's really spinning. But he's trying his hardest to keep up, but it's not really doing much. We've got yellow flags in Sector 1 now.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
looks
what
like
that's
it's just
for.
Breezer again.
Yeah, not really sure. Baz is starting to close in on the back of Dom though for P6, but I'm going to have to follow. See, Mr. Chiapelli, he's coming around 130R. What a superb performance. Started in P9, heading towards the Casio Triangle for the final time in this race on the super soft tyres. He comes through the Casio Triangle. He tries to make as much as a dent into CJ's lead, but it looks like it's only going to be 7 points. But Mr. Chiapelli wins the Japanese Grand Prix by about 5 seconds over CJ. Bossman Sean is all over the back of CJ. He's had a slide coming out of the final corner, but CJ's going to come home second. Bossman Sean's going to come home third. But the main battle to follow is Bazza all over the back of Dom Smith. Is he going to get past him before the line? No, he isn't. So Con Rees comes home fourth. Dom Smith fifth. Bazza will come home sixth. And now we have a long wait to Elite Shots, but he's got Danskar all over the back of him actually, heading into Casio Triangle. Danskar, super soft tyres, is like a repeat of Dom and Bazza literally a few seconds ago. Same thing is going to happen, the car in front is going to maintain position. So Elite Shots is 7th, Danskar 8th. Now we've got a bit of a wait to Michael Kelly in 9th. Red Bull Kim's probably going to come home in 10th position. Breezer a lap down in 11th, and Chris Johnson just about a lap down as well in 12th. So what did you make of that Grand Prix, Sean?
That was a fascinating Grand Prix. Didn't go anyway how I expected it. The early incident between Bossman Sean and Danskar, seeing to that. But Chiapelli, a superb race, made his way through the carnage of the first lap, made his way up to 4th, picked him off one by one, managed to do some great laps at the end of the first stint on the soft tyre, came out right behind CJ, even with that 5-second penalty for speeding the pits, managed to get the move done at 130R and just took off and disappeared down the road to take a superb victory.
Yep, so you can see Mr. Chiapelli on the podium celebrating his victory today at the Japanese Grand Prix. Like we said, CJ has come home second, just holding on Bossman Sean, who started on pole, and he's got to be disappointed with his performance today. A spin on the exit of the SEs on the first lap. He had a spin, Dan Scar lost his front wing, and that was that, ending his chances of a victory today. But a nice recovery for him to get a podium finish. So here will be the final results in the TGP2 Season 21 Japanese Grand Prix. We've got Mr. Chiapelli first, even with his 5-second penalty, pulled off enough of a gap to win the Japanese Grand Prix. We've got CJ in second, Bossman Sean third, Con Rees in fourth, then we've got Dom Smith fifth, Bazza sixth, Elite Shot seventh, Dan Sky in eighth, Michael Kenny ninth, Red Bull Kim 10th, then we have Breezer and Chris Johnson a lap down. The non-finishers in this race were Mr. John, James, Erland and Joe Sayer, who didn't get back in after disconnecting in qualifying in time for the race today. So that was a very exciting Grand Prix. Japan will move on to the circuit of the Americas now in Austin, Texas. Not that far away from Austin, Texas. It's just outside, I believe. So that could be very interesting for us indeed. Previous facts about the Austin Grand Prix. The United States Grand Prix used to be held at Indianapolis controversially, but now it is at the circuit of the Americas. We have got our previous winner last season being Aiden once again. Joe and CJ are the two runners in this field with the most wins here previously. They have previous victories of two, the pair of them, and it will be a 14-lap race round the United States Grand Prix circuit of COTA. So just waiting for all the drivers to have their half-time oranges ready to go for the second race of the night in TGP2. Luca only made a 7-point dent in CJ's lead tonight, which is not what he really would have wanted. Yes, he's made a dent, but he was hoping for a much bigger dent, weren't he, Sean?
Yeah, he really needs to get that gap down quickly. It looked like there was a chance towards the end that it was going to be 10 points instead of 7, but Bossman Shaw not able to make that overtake on the last lap of CJ to take second position. So Chiapelli looking to do the double tonight, definitely. He really needs to, and he needs CJ to have a bit of a bad race here. I can tell you in the past, though, in TGP2, CJ has won here in a mixed qualifying session into dries all the way back on F1 2012. So CJ has won here in the past, so he could be one to look out for in this race.
Yeah, definitely could be one to look out for the second race of the night here at the circuit of the Americas. It is a where it comes up. There we go. Oh no, still haven't found it. There we go. It is a 3.4 mile circuit. I was waiting to see where it was. It's a long way down on the Wikipedia page. I'll tell you that for nothing. It's located in 12 miles away, the south of Austin, Texas. Broke ground on New Year's Eve in 2010, and it was opened October 21st, 2012. And we're going to have a wet qualifying here in Austin.
Now that is very interesting indeed. Now this was the same conditions that CJ Beach got pole back in TGP2 back on F1 2012. Very identical conditions, obviously very different cars, but he's had previous for getting pole in tricky conditions at this circuit, so it's going to be a fascinating one to see how the drivers deal with these conditions. We wonder if there's just a chance of it drying up towards the end, maybe. We've seen it in the past. It just gets a little lighter towards the end of the session, just enough to stick the inters on instead of the wets. But we're about to see the first car come out now, and it is indeed the wet tyres on the Force India of Con Rees. So it's, well, clearly you can tell by the weather it is full wet, but the intermediates seem to work well in conditions like this somehow, because Codemasters logic. But it's going to be interesting to see what the first lap times bring from the field.
Yeah, definitely going to be very interesting indeed. Got a few drivers out on the circuit now. It's going to be a very tricky session for them. Didn't have rain at all in TGP1. Well, it was meant to rain towards the end of the race, but the rain never came fast enough. It started spitting. That's fine rain. That soaks you right through, as Peter Kay would once say. that just didn't quite do anything, didn't really make any difference to the grip levels in TGP1, so it didn't really affect the race outcome in the end. So just looking to see, Con Reese was the first on circuit, so he'll probably take us through a lap of the circuit the Americas. It's going to be a very treacherous session for all the drivers out there, so let's see how they get on. What are your predictions for this session, Sean?
Well, bit of prediction is that we're going to see some very interesting grid positions. I think it could really shake the grid up. We might get a surprise on pole. We'll see what the first lap's bring though. You can't really call it straight away. There's always one or two surprises though, and it'll be fascinating to see who can step up and surprise the two field a pole position.
Yeah, we definitely very interesting to see. Going to watch Con Reese, first person across the line, so he's going to follow. He's having a very difficult time around that long reverse turkey corner, so very difficult. So let's see how they get on. He's gone very wide going through the final corner, so heading on to the main straight now. Up the gears he goes, down up 6th, 7th, 8th gears. He's braking up the blind hill for turn 1. You've got to guess where the apex is on the brakes. You're braking and you can't even see where the corner is. It's that difficult as he swoops down the hill now towards turn 2 and now into the SE section. Turn 3, now down a gear to turn 4, 5, keeping it very nicely balanced through this section, heading towards turn number 7 now, and we've got turn 8 coming up shortly. He's just come out of sector 1, there's a yellow flag in sector 3, but we're on board with Con Reese in the Force India now as he comes out the SE section, down the hill towards turn 11. Big wide entry point, you can take your pick of where you want to pick the braking point for, but wide entry, take your line, come out smoothly. Got to be very easy on the traction and make sure you get it right for this long back straight now, heading towards turn number 12 now. Big overtaking point in the race normally, down into turn 12. Brake about somewhere between 150 and 100 metre board in this case for Con Reese. Down into 3rd gear, keep it controlled on the exit, and now we've got the awkward section where you just go slowly going round, meandering back and forth on yourself. You've got around the first couple of parts of it. Now into 15 and 16. Round they go. You've got to be so careful on the power, and now heading on towards turns 17 and 18. A reverse of the famous corner in Turkey, turn 8 in Turkey. Round we go through turn number 18. Just got 19 and 20 to go. Be careful around 19, off camber corner, and now finally back onto the main straight. Careful on the power. Not a long run to the line from the final corner though. So what sort of lap time can Con Reese do? And it's a 1 minute 50.8. So what do you think that benchmarker will be for the session, John?
I think it could be a decent one, but that's immediately disproven as CJ Beach goes 4 tenths quicker. You can just see that on that outback, see how much it was struggling with the conditions, with flying off the roads, the reverse turn 8 as we like to call it, the reverse turkey turn 8. But you can just see the amount of steering inputs he's having to put even now if you're on board with them. You can just see him having to snap a little bit just to keep the car pointing the right way, how slow the car feels in all the corners, just because of how treacherous it is as Breeze has gone off on the exit onto the back straight, as Erlan and Dom at times, and they're about, well, Dom looks like he might have made a mistake, he's from wide the exit of turn 1 as well. Erlan about a second off, but these conditions are catching people out early on, so I think it's possible now, having said that, that the 150.4 by CJ could be beaten later on. It's also interesting to see what the weather could do. That could throw up a surprise as well if it suddenly dries up or significantly lessens in terms of rainfall. But for now though, very interesting first few laps for a few people.
Yeah, just following Dansgaard now, he's coming around the reverse Turkey turn 8 and he's backed off that lap actually. So Chiapelli, unnoticed, was definitely on a lap as he heads towards this horrible section, if you may say so for myself. Quite a horrible section to drive, not very fun, very slow speed. The car just wants to kill you on power because you're just struggling for grip all the way through, not doing what the car does best, and that's travelling at high speed, are you, in that section, John?
Nice. Oh, sorry, I just seen Leach just lose it on the exit top one there, which just thrown me completely off. What was... Oh, as it looks like Convery's stayed out and actually did improve. Chiapelli goes second, so now I've completely lost track and forgot what you asked, so I do apologise.
I was asking what's your opinions on that couple of corners just at the end of, well, the start of sector 3, I think it is.
Yeah, it's yes, I quite like them. Obviously, it's quite stop-start, but the last part, the left-hander, as you go through that and then approach the first turn, I've always liked that corner. It's take a couple of different lines through there. You can either hang it out wide and try and get the cut back on the exit, or you can just throw it down the inside on a car that isn't covering the inside properly, and you just make the move. And it's opens up different lines of attack and defence for you. But in these conditions, they are very treacherous as you struggle to put the power down, and the rears just spin up on you as you're trying to get round them.
Yeah, definitely very treacherous indeed. Don't look like anyone's on a lap at this current time, so everyone I think is going back in, restocking on fuel, getting themselves back together, probably drying off a bit, maybe have a little bit of a cup of tea while they're in there as well, just to warm themselves up, because it looks utterly miserable out there, and get ready for a second run in this session.
Yeah, the conditions aren't great at all. I'm watching Dan's car. I think he's on an improvement this lap. I think he's actually going to stick it through to the end this time, but even so, you can just see him struggling for grip. The tyres wanting to escape as well as he comes to the second last corner. Actually tackles that very well as the sun starts to break through now, so I wonder if the rain might lighten up soon.
Yeah.
He comes down the last couple of corners. Meanwhile, so it's a brilliant lap to go pole by 6:10, so a 1:49.8. Dan's car only goes 5th, nearly 2 seconds down on a 51.841. So that's a bit of a statement by the Force India driver there, who obviously was in the lead in Suzuka before disconnecting. Managed to recover to, I believe it was 4th position again, so it was a great recovery drive, having disconnected. He lost the race by 9 seconds. He was about 10-11 seconds off CJ when he rejoined, so you'd have to say he probably did have the pace to win the race, as he was only 9 seconds off Chiapelli in the end, well, 14 with the impeded penalties, so he's got a point to prove there, and he's definitely done that with that lap, a sub 150, the first one we've seen in the session, so he's definitely made a statement to the other guys that he is here to win and get back the one who lost in Suzuka, as Breezer is off the track again. It's a bit of a baptism of fire here for him in TGP2. I believe it is his first night. It might be second. You know what? I do apologise. That wasn't Breezer. I'm looking at the wrong part of my thing. It's actually Dan's car who spun off. So apologies to Breezer. Dan's car making another little mistake, still struggling with conditions. And I'm really dropping the ball a little bit tonight in this session.
Well,
so
you
far,
definitely are, because that weren't even Breezer.
Yeah, I had my thing set on Breezer and I'm looking at it, but indeed it was the wrong car. So if everyone wants to kill me in the comments, feel free, because that one was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, you've got CJ just starting a flying lap now as he heads up towards the hill. You said the sun was poking out, but from other parts of the circuit it looks like it's going to stay utterly miserable. Lock up from CJ into turn 1 now, so he's struggling quite a bit. He needs about 8 attempts to go ahead of Convery and go on provisional pole, currently sitting second in the session. Got Chiapelli pulling out the pits, got Erland winding up to start a lap as well. Mr. John on a lap, got Red Bull Kim I think on a lap. Elite Shot set a lap time there, and he did a 1:55.4, so not a great lap time from him. So yeah, CJ probably looks like the quickest guy on a lap currently in this session. He's a yellow flag in sector 3, it's probably because someone's slowing up to back the traffic down. As I've just read a comment there that made me chuckle. Thank you, James, for that comment. We all know why Jean is distracted. So yeah, but well done. Thank you for that, James.
I can tell you it was actually Dan's cut again into the pit lane, because he actually skidded into the wall, but he's managed to recover back to the pits, and they'll all fix that in the garage. But meanwhile, with CJ on a lap, having a moment up the end of the straight, and locking up as well, so this lap doesn't look like it's really going to impress too much, as he the back end stepping out as well, so the conditions aren't really improving too much, you have to say, looking up this lap at least. As yellows are out again, I think that was just Dom getting out the way of CJ there as he continues to lap. But we'll see what CJ does as he comes to the second last corner now, if he can improve on his own lap at least, as he runs very wide. And locks up again, a lot of locking up on this lap in the last sector, so the car not quite set up as he likes. But he does improve by 10th, stays second, only half a second off third pole now. But it's going to be interesting what some of the other guys do, as Chiapelli round the last corner I think is about to start that ban. Look,
yeah, he is definitely winding up for a lap.
Sean in the pits is picking the intermediate tyres.
That's an interesting call. It doesn't look like he's got dry enough rinders, to be honest, but who knows? Maybe the car has come, the crossover point even. Erland's starting a lap, we've got Chiapelli on a lap. Red Bull Kim just getting out of the way there for Chiapelli as he heads through the S's now. How stable is his car? It don't look very stable through this section, in all honesty, but he's just about dragging the car through. What's his first sector time? It's a 29.8, which looks decent enough in these conditions. We've got a Williams going very slowly just above him. Hopefully it doesn't get in the way of him. Going very wide through there. So heading towards turn number 11 now. Tight hairpin. You've got a couple of cars in front of him. Hopefully they don't hold up Chiapelli now. One's gotten out of the way, and that is Conrace. Yeah. What's Breezer going to do? Is Breezer even on the lap? He's just going to sit on the race. Bloody hell, Breezer.
Yeah, Breezer was on a lap, but I think he might have got held up by Conrace and was just backing out of it. But I think he just didn't realise Chiapelli was there. Thankfully got out of the way in time. He had the near miss in Suzuka at the exit 130 as well. Chiapelli through sector 2 now. Obviously it says 29.8 in the top corner, but this game being this game, that's a sector 1 time that they put up twice because Codemasters. Anyway, Chiapelli now into the last sector. You see it very slow with that, and then again the back end trying to step out from the lack of traction as he approaches the reverse turn 8. Gets around it quite well, you have to say. I don't think he actually even lifted.
No, he didn't look like he'd done anything wrong at all there. Just got to keep an eye on Erland as he's heading up towards that corner. But got Chiapelli just coming around the final corner now. Down he goes into second gear. Got to be careful on the exit. A little bit wide on the exit, but what does he do? He improves by a couple of attempts. Meanwhile, CJ actually improved while we were looking at that, so he went for another run there. And he's gone within a tenth from Conrace. We've got Erland just coming up towards the final corner. Bit of traffic there. Looks like one and a half, but he's not going to really cause him any troubles on this lap. So heading down towards the main thing, and he goes right in the middle, 2,000ths ahead of CJ, and pops himself into P2, making it a Force India provisional front row with 4 minutes to go, Sean.
Yeah, that was a very good lap by Erland. I bet he couldn't get it in between those two again if he tried. That was very, very close indeed. 2,000ths quicker than the Renault CJ as Goyo thirds around the track. So, I can also tell you that Sposso Sean has reverted back to wet tyres, so I think we could have told you that was the right call because it was just too wet. As Conrace on pole is now on a lap, I think he might have just got his eyesight taken away there by the Red Bull that was trying to get out of the way. It was out of the way, so he can't really complain about that. But it might have just put him off into the left-hander under the back straight as he now heads towards the next corner near 200 mile an hour, not quite low in these conditions. As he comes into the final sector now. Another car in the way. I think it's one of the Saubers. One did get out the way, the other one I think it's actually still on a lap, you know. But DJ meanwhile in third is just come to the second last corner. He's got very, very wide there. He's actually coming into the pits, so I was going to say there's no way he could have completed that lap without mistake. It would have had to have been validated.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just cruising either back into the pit lane now or just pootling around waiting for the track conditions to be as best as they can be right at the end of the session. CJ's playing a risky one, just pulling into the pit lane. If he hopes to get another run in, he's going to have to be very sharpish, but I don't think he'd be able to. Not long enough.
Great lap by Conrace. Sorry, he's just gone 7 attempts clear on his own previous best out. I did realise he was still going. Other cars all around were trying to back off, get back to the pit, but he kept his foot down through it all and set a superb lap at the end there to really take the session by the scruff of the neck. He's really, really proving a point here after Suzuka. And CJ, you know, he's on Inters, but is he going to get out in time? I don't think so. So it might just be the end of the session for the top two in the championship, in third and fourth. They're not going to get out in time. As a few of the cars stood up there. Con Reese only 100th off his best in Sector 1, so he's still going for it.
Well, CJ's just pulling out the pit lane now with 1:38 to go, so that's not going to be enough time to get a lap in this session. So that's his session pretty much over. Going to try and get to the line before the end of the time limit, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we've got Con Reese on pole by about 8 tenths, and he's going again by the looks of it. So let's see how he gets on. Heading towards the turn 12 corner now, and now he's got this meandering horrible section. John likes it. I think it's a horrible section. No flow to it whatsoever. Just very stop-starting. Doesn't really suit my driving style personally. But we head towards this horrible corner. This is turn 16 now. Heading through 16, heading towards turn 17 and 18 now. The reverse turkey turn 8. This corner I do actually quite like, so that's fine. Heading towards there. Got an off-camber turn 19 to finish off before turn 20. Very much giving it everything. Runs a little bit wide. Heading towards turn 20 now. Down the gears, down to third. Got 40 odd seconds left in the session. What's he going to do? He's going to have one more after this if he wants, and he stays where he is. And he goes P1 still.
Do you know what? I think he might have been taking it easy in the last sector. I was looking at his ERS level, and it was pretty much maximum, and it looked like he was on a low setting as well. So he was only a few tips off his best, and it looks like he's actually cranked it up now. So it looks like he's got time in abundance here. He's got so much confidence compared to most of the other guys, but maybe that's a bit of overconfidence there as he gets very sideways in the middle of the S's. That's going to cost him a lot of time.
Dom's improved slightly as well there. He's improved by a couple of attempts, so that's Dom out of the session. CJ isn't going to get a lap. He's just entering turn 19, so that's him done. So the quickest guy on a lap is Danskar, and he hasn't really done anything. We've got Bazza, Red Bull Kim, and Breezer. They're the only cars on laps still. Unless Bossman Sean is out there. Yes, he is. He's come around the final corner. What's his lap time going to be? It is going to be P2. He goes P2 with a 49.6. So we've got Bazza, who's now spun, so that's him done. So the only people left on laps are Red Bull Kim and Breezer. So Red Bull Kim just coming through this section now at the end of the first sector, heading towards their slide. He's got a bit of a slide. So I think we can. He's not seriously going to be a contender in this session, most likely, is he? So let's be honest. I think Con Reese has got this pole in the bag, hasn't he, John?
Yeah, everyone else that's been in the front all season is all done for this one. Bossman Sean set a superb lap at the end, considering he only did the one lap with these tricky conditions to be within half a second of pole and on the front row of the grid. And Con Reese still going round. He's not going to improve because that first sector, but his middle sector was pretty much a match for his previous lap, and he was actually improved in the last sector as well. So had he not made that mistake in sector 1, that probably would have pushed him into a 49.0, maybe even a 148. So a lot of confidence in that Force India there.
Yeah, Breezer's had a spin. And Breezer had a spin finishing off his lap, so he's definitely starting at the back of the field. So literally the only person on the lap is Red Bull Kim. He's coming around the penultimate corner of the off-camber turn 19 into turn 20. Is he going to improve? He's had a big lock-up. He's run wide as well. Big slide. Is he going to improve on a 53.8? No, he isn't. And that is that for this session. So Con Reese will start on pole ahead of Bossman Sean in this Grand Prix. So the conditions look better thanks to the Sauber Weather Centre for the race. It looks like it's going to be a dry Grand Prix, which I think many of the drivers will be relieved about, mainly because they won't have soggy overalls after the race.
Yeah, this has not been great in terms of conditions, but an interesting qualifying session then. Con Reese on pole for Force India, just under half a second clear of Bossman Sean in the Toro Rosso. Then it was Erlan and CJ separate by 2 thousandths in third and fourth. Chiapelli in fifth, right behind his title rival, ahead of Dom Smith at the all Sauber third row. Then you had Danskar in seventh, ahead of Mr. John in eighth. A quiet session for Mr. John, as we said. Bazza in ninth, made a mistake at the end on his last lap. Red Bull Kim in 10th, skidded off at the last corner. Elite Shots down in 11th. He didn't really do much in the session. Breezer still learning the track a little bit and getting used to life in 2GP at the back of the field as we now get ready to prepare ourselves for the US Grand Prix from the Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, definitely indeed. The US Grand Prix, we're ready to go here. Much better conditions today for race day compared to the qualifying. Very horrible conditions, wet conditions I would hate to be. I love the wet conditions as a driver personally, but I hate to watch as a spectator in those conditions. You're miserable, you're wet, you got a soggy cup as you have your cup of tea, it just goes everywhere. It's horrible, you're getting rain, it's in your shoes, it's horrible. But we're getting ready to go for the much better conditions for the race. And what we're going to have is some 14 laps round here at Texas with... sorry, I'm losing track a bit. 14 laps round this 3.4 mile circuit. But we're ready to go. 5 lights are on here in Texas. The lights are on. And James has jumped the start and we're away to go here in Texas. Bossman Shaw getting a very strong start, going down the inside of Con Reese. He's going to take the lead into turn 1, gets the move done. He's into the lead. We've got Con Reese in second.
Oh, we've got a Sauber round. We've got the Saubers in trouble.
Yeah, one of the Saubers is in trouble actually. I'm not sure it's Dom Smith looking at the timing actually. But the top 3 all nose to tail so far as they head through the S's. We've got Erland in 4th, Danscar 5th, Chiapelli down in 7th. And Dom Smith down in 10th. Chiapelli once again needs to keep outscoring CJ to keep his title hopes alive in this race.
Yeah, it looked like both Saubers got caught up in contact at the exit of turn 1. In fact, it was Chiapelli's car that was sideways that I realised, but he managed to get pushed back the right way, I think, by Dom. And Dom almost going off the track as a result. So both Saubers in major drama early on in the race there. As Con Reese now having a run on Bossman Shaw down towards the end of the back straight. He's going to have a look down the inside. The Force India. Does he make the move stick? Bossman Shaw trying to stick on the outside. Runs wide. And Con Reese makes the move and takes the lead. Recovers for the bad start that where Bossman Shaw got the lead and is immediately put his foot down. CJ having a look around the outside as well as we come through the end of the stop-start section towards the reverse turn 8.
Yeah, current in through reverse turn 8. We've got CJ running wide. We've got Erland also following in close pursuit. Top 5 are very close to each other. Well, apart from Con Reese, who's starting to make a bit of a gap. Got taken by Sean at the start, but now is got the position back down the back straight and now pulling away. We've got Bossman Sean in second, 1.3 back. We've got CJ in third, looking to maybe make a move into turn 1. Don't think he's going to be close enough. Then we've got Erland in 4th, Danscar 5th. And then we wait for the field to pan out behind. Chiapelli in 7th and Dom in 8th. Not a good run so far for the Sauber drivers as CJ is getting very close to the back of Bossman Shaw coming through the SE section.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with Bossman Shaw, and he's started in the super soft, everyone else on the ultra soft tyres, so it's going to be interesting to see as Erland's going round. He's managed to save it, he's lost the position. Danscar's been hit by Mr. John, and they're both off. That's going to help the Saubers up. They're up to 5th and 6th. Erland, I don't know if he got caught by Danscar or not, or if he was just spinning round. He managed to save it, but got collected by Mr. John, who's now out the race.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but that's a very dramatic moment for Erland and Mr. John. Erland looked like he saved the original contact and then got collected again, and Mr. John has retired from the race as a result, which is a shame for him. It's not been a brilliant night for him at all. The all-time consecutive points record holder in TGP2, that over 100 race streak in points, but no points this evening in this race for Mr. John as Bazza now goes through to take the last pit spot as it stands. Meanwhile, Con Reese is pulling away quickly from Bossman Shaw, who's starting to build, well, I was going to say he was building a little train, but after the incident with Erland and Mr. John, that train has kind of derailed as Con Reese now sits the fastest lap of the race at 34.9. Meanwhile, Chiapelli and Dom up to 5th and 6th now. They look like they were catching quickly to the pack in front, but I think that little incident has cost them a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Red Bull Kim, impressive start up to 7th, keeping his way out of trouble, as we are now on to the 3rd lap, DRS enabled.
Yeah, DRS has definitely been enabled in this race. We've got CJ keeping with Bossman Shaw at the moment. It's about 6 tenths the gap. Got Erland trying to make his way back through the field now. He's about 5 tenths behind Red Bull Kim as they go through the SE section. They're on board with him now. He's in P8 after that spin. Not really sure what happened there, but as I just caught a glimpse of it, I think he got collected by Mr. John at some point. Maybe he turned in on him at some point as well. That's what I'm guessing. But Red Bull Kim in 7th. He is getting close to the back of him, about 7 tenths. We've also got CJ though, further up the field though. He's got DRS on Bossman Shaw. Is he going to be close enough heading towards turn 12? I don't think he is going to be able to, unless he has a dive. Is he going to have a dive? He has a sniff. It was a half-hearted attempt there from CJ. Hasn't quite worked out in his favour. and he stays in P3 for the time being. We've got Dom Smith getting close to the back of Mr. Chiapelli, and we've got Erland looking for a move as CJ has gone past Bossman Sean. They're dicing into the reverse turn 8. I've missed that. Erland has got past Red Bull Kim as well. Not really sure where to look in this race. We see Con Reese there come and nicely clip our camera there. Bossman Sean does the same thing as well. But we've got CJ all over the back of Bossman Sean now. Another DRS opportunity heading towards turn 1. Is going to be able to make it stick. That's a great camera angle looking at the front wing of CJ. He's getting closer and closer. Got to go down on board. At the inside into turn 1. They're going to be side by side. Has he got the move done? Oh, he's going to try and get the reverse switcheroo, flippity flop, whippity flop, or whatever it's called. I can't remember. But they're coming through towards the S's now. Is he going to hold on? CJ. Oh, yes, he has. He's got the move done. He's up into P2 this race, and this could be another nail in the coffin for anyone else outside of Chiapelli's title hopes. He's the only one that's even keeping remotely close to him in this title race. So this is still bad news for him, though. He's losing more points again to CJ in this race. It's currently 8 points he's losing, but he gained 7, so currently he's down 1 point for the 9th.
Yeah, and to add to Chiapelli's troubles, there is a significant amount of front wing damage on the left-hand side on the car. That must have been up the turbine instant at the beginning of the race. He was sideways before getting pushed back the right way, and that's going to explain his downturn of pace at the moment with his teammate following behind. And you can see from both cars on boards, there is quite a bit of wing missing on Chiapelli's car.
Yeah, definitely a fair bit of wing missing on Chiapelli's car. Heading towards... Well, heading through a couple of corners now. Chiapelli, where is he? He's just looking through the slow section. Got Bossman Sean. He's losing a bit of time. He's got Danskar getting close to the back of him. He's just picked up a time penalty as well, Bossman Sean. And that's not good when you've got Danskar looking all over the back of you for position. Little slide on the exit. And what is Danskar going to do? Now, he's closest battle on the circuit. Danskar and Bossman Sean for the final podium position. Is he going to have a sniff into turn 1? Not quite. Going to have a look and see what tyres everyone's on, because I've just noted Danskar is on the ultra soft tyres. No one's made any pit stops yet. So the only person on super softs actually is Bossman Sean.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Bossman Sean's actually overcooked them a little bit, because at the end of the last lap he was all over the place. He couldn't even keep it on the track around the reverse turn 8. It was miles wide, came back on, and then managed to cut the inside of the following corner to get the penalty. So I think he's struggling a lot with the grip on the car, trying so hard to keep up with the cars on the softer top compounds, which are therefore a little bit quicker. Meanwhile, Dom is the first of the main runners to pit, and he's come up just behind Breezer in P9. Dom again struggling with tyre wear, as it seems, and being stuck with his own teammates.
Sorry, interrupted. Dan's flying down the inside of Bossman Sean, and he's going to go up into P3 in this race. Bossman Sean is back down to P4. He's on the less grippy tyres, but surely the guys on the ultra softs will be starting to come in this time round.
Yeah, you'd think that might be the case. Dom already having done so, and actually going up to P8 now. Breeze it down to P10. It looks like Red Bull Kim's involved in that fight as well, made the move. So an interesting little scrap there for P8. Dom, you'd expect to win, being the quickest out of the 3 and on fresh tyres. Meanwhile, let's see if any of the leaders come in. Tom Rees stays out. CJ though does come in, and that's going to free up Dan's car to get some clear air and push on the next lap as CJ now comes into the pits. Let's see where he comes out, especially Chiapelli goes around the last corner. He's really struggling with that front wing dash, I have to tell you.
Yeah, definitely is.
Also Rainbow gets a speeding penalty, so that's 5 seconds added on to him. Meanwhile though, Dom's quite a way down. Don't expect him anywhere near CJ. That has to be said. CJ's already coming out on the track towards turn 1. Dom is not even in the last corner, and he's actually off the track. You know what? I think he's got damage to his front wing. So I think he's had contact with Red Bull Kim or Breezer on the outlap, which is a huge disaster for him.
Yeah, and he's coming along the main straight. Erland's just going to pop out right in front of him from the pit lane. So what's he going to do? He's going to be very close as Red Bull Kim goes for a dive on Dom Smith and gets the move done, pushing him off the circuit though. Don't think Dom Smith will be very happy about that from Red Bull Kim. The Dane channeling is if in a Nicholas Chiesa there, and probably more like Kevin Magnussen, that sort of move, to be honest. Just diving up the inside, hoping for the best and pushing his rivals out the way, literally with force.
Well, I don't need to repeat what Kevin Magnussen said to Nico Hulkenberg last year, but I think Dom might be saying something similar after that move. A very forceful overtake there by the Dane to take P8. As he's now lost it, and Dom's hit him, so there's definitely going to be a few angry words after the session. Now, there's front wing damage to that Haas, there's front wing damage to the Sauber. An absolute disaster for both there, as Red Bull Kim just dropped it on the power coming out of the corner, and Dom had nowhere to go. Meanwhile, Bossman Sean stays out while Con Rees and Danscar both pit.
Yeah.
Con Rees very quick pit stop there by Force India. He's already on his way back out. Danscar has now been released as well. Chiapelli's in. Let's see if they fix that front wing. Meanwhile, keep an eye on CJ coming out the last corner.
CJ is coming out the final corner. The see Con Rees has already popped out into the lead, but where is Danscar? He's going to be ahead of Danscar actually. Danscar hasn't even emerged back onto the circuit. There he is. So Danscar has popped out just behind CJ, which is where he was before the stop. But Con Rees maintains his advantage once the stops have commenced. Bossman Sean, of course, hasn't pitted yet because he's the only driver on the harder compound tyres. So that means he can go a bit longer into this race and have more grip and quicker tyres towards the end. Danscar getting very close to the back of Sean. We've got Erland getting very close to the back of Chiapelli. Chiapelli, I think, just popped out the pits, didn't he, Sean?
Yeah, Chiapelli having just come out the pit with a front wing change just ahead of Erland there on fresher tyres now, that front wing fixed. So he'll be trying hard to catch up to Danscar, but there's definitely support at the minute, so it'd be very unlikely that he'll do anything unless there's a safety car at some point. Meanwhile, though, there's a good little scrap shaping up for 7th place between Red Bull Kim, James and Bazza. James just come out the pit lane. Red Bull Kim really having about
they've made contact, the two Haas drivers. Red Bull Kim goes for the dive on the inside. It's not your teammate. Calm down, lads. You're fighting wheel to wheel like your teammates. And meanwhile, Bossman Sean picked up a 5-second penalty for corner cut. Hang on. He's picked up a 5-second penalty for corner cut. He was
in the pit lane. That's very interesting. That's I think we refer to that as classic Cody's, I'm afraid. That's a bizarre penalty to get for pit entry, unless he's cut too much on the inside as he's rushed in, but very, very peculiar on that. Meanwhile, the fight between the Haas and Mercedes and Bazza continues on. Looks like James is starting to pull away now, though.
Yeah, also got a battle between Erland and Chiapelli for battle for P5. Not a good result for Chiapelli. Overall on the night, he actually loses a point so far to CJ. That's the main thing to keep worrying about. Red Bull Kim, I'm not surprised he's picked up a time penalty the way he's been driving in this race. Bit reckless and haphazard, driving into the side of people. Driving into the side of his own teammate, for fuck's sake. Sorry, my language there, but it's a bit angry with his driving there. It's a bit disgraceful, in all honesty.
Yeah, he seems to have picked up the feistiness tonight. He did just lose 8th position to Bazza though. He ran by the last corner. Bazza had a few seconds to make up on James, but Bazza did hit on lap 1, which is why he's on the soft tyres to pick up some damage. The same he fell Elite Shots, who's now 10. Again, pitting lap 1 for soft tyres. We've got Dom Smith down at 11th position, just passing Breeder at 12. It's been an unmitigated disaster for Dom. Nothing's got his way this Grand Prix. He's had to stop twice. He's on the super softs now. He's also 20 seconds off the next car. He'll be looking to try and get a fast lap or something just to make up some pride, I guess. It's been a disappointing race for him. It's not gone quite the way Sauber would have wanted as Con Rees continues on, unabated in the lead, 6.5 seconds clear of CJ Beach. Danscar though, close behind the Renault in the fight for second place. Bossman Sean, who's only 4th ahead of Chiapelli and Erland, who's still scrapping away, while Chiapelli now building up a bit of a lead.
Yeah, so definitely so. Probably the closest battle on circuit at the moment is between Danscar and CJ, and Danscar's only just holding on to CJ. It's about 6/10 the gap though, so he's still going to be in DRS range, but through this twisty section it looks bigger than it actually is, and he's probably not going to be close enough unless he has a good run through this section to make a move towards turn number 11 or even turn 12. Go have a look in the comments, and we've got a comment from James Collar going, Red Bull Kim versus Goings, one-on-one needed, and I think that is a battle we'd like to see. It would be a demolition derby, as some of the TGP1 drivers would probably agree with, as we head towards turn 12 with these guys. Got about 5 laps to go in this race, and it looks like it's going to be a comfortable victory for Con Rees, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. He was so determined after that disappointment with Suzuka that he wanted to win, and he's just been absolutely faultless in this race. Well, aside from the start, he did lose the lead at the start to a fast start and Bosman Sean, but he made the move to get it back, and he's led every lap of this race near enough. I think he did actually lose one from Bosman Sean Penn, so he ain't going to get the Grand Slam, but he's well on his way to 25 World Reserve points as he just keeps building that lead over CJ, who's now just over 8 seconds down after 9 completed laps. So a dominant performance by the Force Inter driver, and he'd be delighted if he can keep this up to the flag. I'm not going to say he's definitely won it yet, because you never know in TGP what could happen. Disconnections, one which is already before them, Connery's tonight, so you don't want to jinx him or anything like that, but he's well on his way at the moment in time. Meanwhile, Erland started closing a little bit on Chiapelli again.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dansgaard's just gained a chunk of time in the Essies to CJ Beach, actually. So this could be on heading towards turn 11. If not turn 11, then definitely under the DRS, down towards turn number 12. So braking for turn 11. He's getting closer and closer, almost hitting the back of him, coming into turn 11. Needs a good exit, ready for the DRS. He's lost a little bit of ground there, but he's still going to be close enough for the DRS. The DRS is going to be wide open on this Mercedes. CJ is going defensive, trying to make sure that Dansgaard can't get any slipstream, heading towards turn 12. No, he isn't going to be there, but CJ's made a lock-up, so he is going to be there or thereabouts coming through this meandering section now. Meanders like a river. I'm not a fan of it. Jean is, as we head towards turn 16. Another penalty for Bossman Sean in this race. So any chance of a decent finish is going. That might mean Chiapelli actually picks up another position in this race, so actually means he does gain points on CJ over the course of this evening's races.
Yeah, I think as it stands, Bossman Sean's looking at about 8 seconds or so. The gap is currently just under 11, so if Chiapelli can close in a little bit, that might help him. Bossman Sean seems to be a bit prone to getting these penalties at the moment. Meanwhile, though, Dansgaard just dropping back a little bit in the last set compared to CJ. CJ looking a bit more comfortable in the last few corners. But here in the S's, that Mercedes is very strong, and he'll be looking to go straight back in and prepare for an attack on the back straight. As you can just see the different lines they're taking there. Dansgaard a lot more committed to and taking every inch of the track that he can, while CJ just looks like he's looking after the tyres a little bit. Remember, his tyres are a lap older, it shouldn't be too much of a difference, but you can just see he's nursing it a little bit, probably thinking about the championship, not wanting to risk any silly accident or silly spin or anything. But Dansgaard doesn't think about the championship at the moment. He's not really a part of the potentially joined too late for that this season. What he wants is the best results possible, and he wants that second place right now as he lines up down the straight DRS. CJ giving in the room, not really trying to shut the door as they now come into the next corner.
Dansgaard's gone round the outside. They're going to be side by side through the meandering section. CJ is still there or thereabouts, but I think the move may be done unless he has a dive coming into 16, which he's gone for. Down the inside in 16, locked up big time, gone massively wide, and that is that battle done, and Dansgaard into P2.
Well, I said he weren't going to do anything silly in case of his championship, but that's been proven wrong very quickly as he decides to go down the inside, having lost second to gain it, to try and regain it. But it does mean that over the course of the night, Chiapelli would have gained a few points now, but he has left himself possibly vulnerable to a fast approaching Bossman Sean on the Ultra Softs, remember. So if these two keep scrapping, that's going to allow Bossman Sean, and even with those penalties, and Bossman Sean's up for any scrap. That's just his nature. He's a fighter. He wants to get as up the field as quickly as possible. He'll go for it every single lap and doesn't really think about championships or whatever. This is not part of it at the moment. He just wants to win. He's not going to be able to win today. That's going to be Con Rees who will take that. But he will be very happy to catch these two and give him a little bit of a bloody nose as he makes his way past.
Yeah. The closest battle now on circuit is the battle for P9 between Red Bull Kim and Elite Shots. Coming onto the main straight now, Elite Shots is on the grippier tyre compared to Red Bull Kim. Red Bull Kim on the soft tyres, super softs for Elite Shots. He's not quite close enough for DRS, I don't think, that time round. So heading into turn 1. Have to be careful with Red Bull Kim after some of his driving today. So be careful, Elite Shots, trying to overtake him. Done some ambitious moves, I think is the best way to describe it. Channeling his inner Kevin Magnussen, like we've stated already. ready to go here in this race. We've got Elite Shots following closely. Not really any other gaps to talk about. It's his closest battle on circuit, less than a second. It's down to 3/10 now as they head towards turn 11 now in the Ferrari. So round we go in towards turn 11 now. Red Bull Kim going to be watching his back. A little lock up there, a little slide as well. What's Elite Shots going to do? Going to be DRS wide open any second now. Heading towards the DRS line. There is the DRS line. Red Bull Kim going defensive early on in the straight. So Elite Shots is coming, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Will he come? Will he come? Round the outside he goes. Red Bull Kim defending on the inside, locks up. I think that's Elite Shots through, is it? Unless he tries something stupid. No, he doesn't. Elite Shots is through and up into P9.
Yeah, Elite Shots just taking it easy, really. Didn't really go for an overtake at all. Red Bull Kim just completely out-defended himself and ran off. And that's just let Elite Shots up the inside straight through to take P9. Elite Shots was actually on the soft tyre as well, you know, after the firm one incident. So it's looking
Elite Shots is on super softs.
Oh, okay, on my screen it says soft, so there we go. Maybe I've got that wrong. But meanwhile, he did just sit, he sat back, let Red Bull Kim do all the work for him, really. Red Bull Kim was a bit all over the place. And then that just let Elite Shots up the inside just to make the move stick. As Red Bull Kim goes for it at the inside into turn 1, that's a clumsy move. He's got past, but it wasn't really fair at all. He's just gone straight up the inside and used the Ferrari as a brake. But Red Bull Kim now back in 9th. He's really got the bit between his teeth in this race. He's just fighting everyone that comes near him. Meanwhile though, Con Rees in the lead is about to start his final lap now. It's 12.5 seconds clear. It's been a perfectly executed race by him as he is on his way to a race victory here at the Circuit of the Americas. Danscar still second. CJ Beach struggling to keep up a little bit here. It's allowed Bossman Sean to close in. I think he might just be outside of DRS actually. It's about
he's outside DRS this time, but he is going to have DRS heading onto the back straight. He has got the grippier tyre on the Ultra Softs, so he could be on for a net P3 on the road. But because of the penalties, I don't think he's going to finish in that position in this race. It's about 6/10 the gap now as they head through the SE section. Following Bossman Sean now, getting the corners absolutely right. So nice to drive that section of corners on this game. Heading through, going to be trying to keep up with the back of CJ. Little bit of corner cut in there. And again, wide from CJ though, so everyone's going a bit hairy, scary. Track limit's not really an option for some drivers by the looks of it today, as they head towards round onto the back straight. Is CJ going to be able to defend off the grippier tyres of Shaw? It's getting close. DRS is going to be open on Shaw. I don't think he's going to be able to hold on. Heading into turn number 12 now. Something's happened with Shaw.
He just completely backed it off. Yeah, the DRS closed up. He just backed it off. Is he out of fuel?
He might be long. Okay, it's an interesting one.
You know what? I think he might have just sat back and accepted 4th place. He knows he's not going to get the podium, so he's not going to risk taking out a title contender with a silly move for the last lap of the race.
Con Rees is coming around the final corner though, heading across the line. He wins the United States Grand Prix for Force India. It's a win for Con Rees. Danscar looks like he's going to come home in 2nd position now. So Danscar coming home in 2nd position for Mercedes. It's going to be CJ coming home in 3rd, with Bossman Sean all over the back of him in 4th. Then we've got a bit of a wait back to Chiapelli coming through the off-camber turn 19. He's going to come home 5th position. Don't make any inroads, unfortunately, on Bossman Sean, CJ in the title race, this race. But he's going to come home P5. He comes home P5. Erland is P6. We've got James going to come home in P7. Elite Shots has finally got past Red Bull Kim properly, and surely that's that done. So that's him done for P number 9, Elite Shots. So James coming around the final corner. He's going to come home P7. We're going to have Bazza come home in P8. Then we have Elite Shots coming around the reverse turn 8. He's going to come home P9 unless Red Bull Kim tries a dive. He's getting very close to the back of him actually, Red Bull Kim. He's run wide though, I think that's it. Red Bull Kim is going to come home 10th. Elite Shots is going to come home 9th. And then we round out the field, the round out of the cars on the lead lap with Dom Smith, who's had a terrible Grand Prix. Everything has gone wrong for him this race, and he's going to cruise home in P11 in this race. So watch him come around the final corner, the off-camber final 19 corner, and then turn number 20, coming round to finish the race and finish the finishers. So Dom Smith comes home in P11 and only picks up 2 points to salve that race. So the results will be on screen any second now. Sauber not having the best of US Grand Prix, but the spoils today will be for Force India, as we see Otmar Zafnal going very happily. He's even on the podium. He's so happy for his boy Conrees. He's on the podium with him, picking up the Constructors' Trophy. But we have Conrees winning the race, lifting the trophy here in Texas. And where are the cowboy hats that they had in 2012? We need to see some of them as we head there. Vijay Mallya, current not team owner, but he's been invited down for this race by Force India just to be there, see his team pick up a victory. We'll see his ex-team pick up a victory as we see the results come on screen any second now. There are the results. So Conrees wins the race from Danskar. Then we have CJ in third, Bus Manshaw with 6 seconds worth of time penalties, but still comes home in fourth. Mr. Chiapelli fifth, Erland in sixth, James in seventh, Bazza in 8th, Elite Shots in 9th, Red Bull Kim 10th, Dom Smith 11th, and Breezer rounding out the points in 12th. And only one retirement actually from that race, and that was Mr. John. So what were your thoughts on the US Grand Prix and the night as a whole, John?
Well, the US Grand Prix, it turned out to be a masterclass by Conrees there. Just led the whole way pretty much. Comfortable victory. Good scraps for the some of the lower positions in a fight for a podium as well. But I have to say the real winner tonight in terms of the championship is CJ. No one's really made any inroads on him. He's had 2 solid finishes. Chiapelli ultimately did close in by the tiniest of margins tonight, but into the last, I think we're the last 2 weeks now, are we? I believe.
Yeah, 2 weeks to go.
A good 30 points that CJ leads by, and if you can outscore Chiapelli by about 20 next week, he's likely to win the championship. Most of the other contenders seem to fall by the wayside. Erland did have a DNF, Dom had a DNF, Joe wasn't even able to make either race tonight due to internet issues. It just seems to have opened up nicely for CJ to take the TGP2 title on his return to league racing. He's been away for quite a while, and it's gone very, very well for him this season.
Yeah, definitely gone very well for him this season. That is it for TGP2 Season 21, round number 17 and 18. We will join you next time out for Mexico and Brazil in TGP2. See how the title fight closes on. Can CJ keep his momentum going into the final 4 races of the season and clinch the title? But thank you for watching TGP2. I've been Owen, that was John. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time out. Goodbye.